they're going to be leaning towards it. If there are so many good teams that are coming in through the qualifiers, if there is a team that is going to 3-0 within this pool, I do think it is going to be Shopify Rebellion. They're got to be the favorites out of pool number 2, and we're going to find out how they will do if they are going to get a 3-0 here, if skill issue is going to prove to be an issue to the Rebellion or not. But game 1 kicking off, and already offense quickly from the Rebellion.
Just like all the kids often tell me, skill issue, but Cara saying this is all of a speed issue. Parthenax was looking for a good challenge in the corner early, and before Memory could even begin to get off his sneakers, Cara snipes one from distance at 75 miles an hour. First blood, first drawn by skill issue.
And that is huge too, not just for getting the ball or getting the goal on early, but they're also throwing that wrench into the Shopify Rebellion immediately. They're going for a back pass, trying to play controlled, too fast, skill issue there, and able to cut that off and trying to get this pressure going. So a great start in the first few seconds of game number 1. The Rebellion will have that second to rebound, but skill issue, they're doing well at keeping it back into the blue half early on in this game.
Yeah, honestly, this has been kind of just a heads-up play mentality out of the skill issue. You saw Cara being able to find that one just over Memory before they even had time to react, and doing the same thing, working laterally. But these extensions, that should be a give-back, and that's going to be another play as Memory kind of clangs it to the sidewall. The Shopify Rebellion, they've been kind of short-handed, not been able to find a lot of offense in this first minute, but we've only seen a minute of play, and skill issue has been trying to take advantage where they can. They know they have to grind the Rebellion to a halt if they're going to be consistent, and I almost thought the pogo was going to come out, but that bouncer just kind of stopped short.
Absolutely. And one thing, the skill issue again, they scored off it immediately. They almost scoring off it again, but Cara denied by 2-piece. But they're cutting off those passing plays, and I don't know if my eyes are deceiving me, but the Rebellion going for much more solo plays here. Very early, of course, but it almost looks like that initial play may have spooked them a touch in terms of game plan, but it has slowed down. But these long shots coming in from skill issue, they're proving to be a little bit dangerous, forcing Rebellion back so quickly.
Yeah, this is actually surprising. I know that, we gave a lot of weight to what this squad in the Rebellion can do, but it has been the response factor almost immediately that skill issue has provided. Cara finds an immediate carry. They get it around Memory again, and then wait for it to drop, flip, reset, and just drub it underneath the defender. That is 2 for skill issue, which is starting to look like an issue for the Rebellion to respond to.
Just immaculate from Cara. And look, if you're a skill issue fan or a player, this is nearly as perfect of a start as you can get. They have not given up very many threatening opportunities through 2 minutes, and they've just been cutting off Rebellion so well. They're trying to get something with the back wall, but nothing developing, and Cara again getting a save. Giselle demoed, but it might not matter. Going back the other way, Cara trying to do it to him, but can't get the third. And we'll see if Paarth can mimic it going back the other way, but Giselle, cool, calm, and collected, gets the save.
You were talking a little bit before about how some of these plays, a lot of these plays start to look more individualistic, trying to go for kind of these solos. And Rebellion does create space off of their individual mechanics. And then they utilize that space to just be able to go downfield and score. Well, Paarth is going to find a freebie after the collection at the top of the box. You cannot keep this one here because someone will scream down. And Paarth is a sure shooter. It was just waiting for Cara to give it away. And that's actually the first mistake we've seen Cara make.
Yeah, and that was one of the things, too. Cara got the touch there, just not what they were looking for. Couldn't get it off to the side, couldn't get the power on it, just kind of gave it right back to Paarth. So they're going to have to limit those mistakes because, to your point, it was the first mistake we've seen, and the Rebellion scored on it. So they're going to have to play fairly perfectly here. The momentum's still on their side for now. The Rebellion coming back, looking to load up for one more opportunity, but a good clear by Giselle. A lot of power behind it to get that room back for skill issue.
Yeah, this has been a Rebellion crew that sometimes can start slow, but once they start to ramp up, it's almost unattainable to be able to get back to them. Memory is always there to secure the bag. Now 2 in a row to either side with less than 2 on the board. Cara with just, I believe they had no extra boost, and what a fake out by Paarth, creating a screen. I believe that was in front of Dez, who was the last defender on the goal line. So Rebellion, they're also one of those tenured teams that knows how to not sweat it out and be able to get back in the fight.
And every Rebellion needs to start with a spark, and that first goal may have done it, as they're starting to build up now. Then not just getting goals on, but they're looking a lot more confident and more collected in the back half of game number 1, especially with how quickly skill issue came out of the gates, firing So, I mean, since then, we have seen a lot more defense from Skill Issue. These touches from the Rebellion right there in case in point, 2-piece putting it down. Memory was on the other corner. I think it was a pass initially, but it got a little bit tangled up. They're starting to get some of these high up passes, trying to extend up in the Z-axis, trying to drop something low, but will be saved by Dez. The defense standing up, standing tall when needed, but when there's nobody there, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, I mean, they had to commit their numbers. Honestly, you see how stagnated everyone became. This one was a weird position. Cara has been bumped and bruised and isolated, especially because the Rebellion have, in fact, identified, okay, that is a threat, and especially when they've stepped up too close. You see them go beyond that near side post, and then they were able to creep into the corner, and then just a little bit of a love tap. I think that was by Paarth, and then that just basically ruined the defense. So Rebellion find their first lead, and I'm only a little bit hurt earlier that you didn't say Rebellions are built on hope, but I guess this team is looking more for an explosion off of that spark.
Monkey Man, you know we can't use every reference in game number 1.
Why not?
That was in my back pocket. It very much was in my back pocket to use if they came back to win game 1, which is looking more and more likely the way that they're finding these angles and 2-piece with the 2-touch for the 2-goal lead late in game 1.
Yeah, this is looking a lot more Rebellion-like. 2-piece adjustment to the outside, slowing it down, and maybe slamming the door shut onto Skill Issue, who we got to give them credit. The early portion of this game was looking like they had Shopify Rebellion on their heels, completely leaned back and just bewildered by the sight in front of them. It was the response factor and the just timeliness, especially of Cara, who was able to just kind of dice up that last man on deck for the Rebellion and their defense, but none of that has been happening the same way, and Rebellion have just been very patient and very optimized on how they take over the midfield. It's up to Skill Issue to have to bounce back, but it looks like Rebellion have really stepped into their shoes and they're up to speed.
Oh yeah, playing much more disciplined, and so far a lot of the threats from Skill Issue, pending this attack by JSL, have been those solo plays by Cara, and once those got shut down, it just totally flipped the other way. Now 5 unanswered for the Rebellion, sometimes calculated, sometimes fortuitous, either way. 5 goals in a row, Monkey Man. What a rout as this game developed.
Yeah, Paarth and Memory showcasing that they are both really, really good at Algebra 2, and they know how to draw that parabola. So, just pinch it up, hit the ceiling, drop it down. It's just math. Math is math, and that tells us 5-2 is a Game 1 win for the Shopify Rebellion.
Math is math, and if the math adds up, it looks like it's going to be 1-0 for the Rebellion. So, a hot start. It was a little bit of a hold your breath moment to start off Game 1, not going to lie. Especially with how hard Skill Issue came out, but I mean, we got to give flowers to Cara. I mean, 6 saves, 2 goals on the 4 shots, but the Rebellion just too strong. Once they really started getting that calm back within them and they started playing up high into the Z-axis, I mean, it was a totally different game at that point.
It really was. You had Cara getting very, very quick. I think they almost kind of used up their entire speed DLC. That's like really what was happening. They got in front of Memory twice, and that's a really particular player to really be able to cut off because Memory has such a great amount of experience. If you're able to keep that player from securing that third man position, even into that second kind of transitional piece, then you've really kind of cut off a major piece of the arsenal that is Shopify Rebellion. So when Cara did that, this team looked like they didn't exist, and then all of a sudden everyone said keep your cool. IGL said we're gonna be able to get this rotation, we're gonna go downfield, and just like you were talking about, they went to the skies, they were able to overcome, and then they just laid on the offense like no tomorrow.
Yeah, it was just a difference in experience at that point, quite honestly, because they didn't panic, they didn't push. Once they started getting that offense, it was so much more awkward for Skill Issue to get any of their plays going. It'll be interesting to see how they adapt, Monkey Man, coming into game number 2. I think they're going to need to get off to another hot start if they're looking to equalize the series, but they're going to have to keep that pressure up, and when they get punched back, they have to stay on their feet. I'm not going to say they gave up by any means, because of course they didn't, but once Rebellion got rolling, they really started rolling, and it looks like they want to keep it going here, although the first couple of shots are going to go wide.
And this is reminiscent of what we saw early on from the Rebellion. They were taking their pot shots, seeing what would maybe creep through the defense, and then, it's up to skill issue to find that separation. It's being found by Dez, but you see Cara, they do not like the flight that they were going to go up to, so they call up to Dez again. They have to come up and look for some of these quick clears. That was a powerful flick, and even though they had an opportunity to get it with the second man, they just can't connect otherwise. In this first minute, looking a lot better for the Rebellion, as they've kept skill issue pinned into their back half, and they'll find first blood.
Yeah, it looks like there was no time in between those games. They're just as snappy as they had ended. Double commit, doesn't matter. 2 attempts at the shot. They've just been so quick to all of these. Pre-jumping the passes from skill issue in the first 40 seconds, they've just not squandered any opportunity to get a touch on. The kickoff will not quite go fully in favor of skill issue, at least not 100%, but the follow-up again denied. Paarth able to get the save.
If there's anything that a lot of teams and a lot of players know, it's that the Rebellion have a pretty stout defense, but when you keep the ball rolling just around this, and Dez on the second effort, Paarth, that was not the touch they wanted. That came from that upper corner, and then with a slap down, Dez just stuck around, never gave up on the play, and you're going to have a 1-1 all tied up here inside of the first minute. Skill issue, they won't go away easy, Gator, and it's got to be the Rebellion that fight their way out.
Yeah, maybe it's going to come down to kickoffs. NA kickoffs are a meme for a reason, but to work it out for skill issue, at least to continue just kind of pinning their ears back and going after it, knowing that their opportunities may be a little bit more limited than especially the first couple minutes of game 1 had indicated. Since then, a lot more defense. That one's going to be a mistake from the Rebellion, though. They should have had an opportunity, but it gets pinched to the corner. They will continue to rebound and get shots on, but a little too far upper left to get that upper 90.
I see, you say mistake, but their mistakes are just a slight difference of kind of critical thinking, because they were trying to be able to kind of pinch it through, and they were masking that approach of the third man to the top of the box all the way to the final milliseconds. So it's about execution for them, and as mechanical as this team is, they're able to execute just fine, especially off of 2Piece, who finds the second touch and a second goal.
Yeah, when you have mechanics like that, you can take bigger risks if you know you're going to beat everybody out. And 2Piece just getting past a couple. Cara able to get a touch on it, but not nearly enough to be able to get the clear out. So, to your point, Monkey Man, I'm not going to, if I say they're making a mistake, let's be honest, I'm a hard stuck 1,000 MMR lower than these guys, so they're going to know what they're doing far better than I do. So, but so far, a hot start again for the Rebellion, but skill issue, they are looking a lot better in game 2 as this game has developed. They have not gotten the first 2 goals in, the first minute, but they've been able to kind of match pace a little bit more, but they're going to have to match this extension across the pitch as well.
Hey, all credit to you, though, because I may not be an artist, but I know when paintings suck. And so I know when sometimes players are not executing to the level that they need to be, but these guys are going so quick, so fast, and so feisty that 1-2 punches can almost be one in the same, of both mistake as well as just a tiny degree of difference. But at the midway mark here of game number 2, the Rebellion, they're hanging on to a 1-goal lead. Skill issue has at least been able to provide some of those hijinks in the midfield, but their defense, just like we saw in the back half of game number 1, has started to suffer, has really started to slow down, and you see the Rebellion really corralling them in from the perimeter, laterally and vertically. Just these handoffs, even if it kind of errantly hanging out as a loose ball play at midfield, they have to shut down Dez, and they've got 2 to do it. There's another one for Cara, and we're tied at 2 at 2:02.
And that is the way to go for skill issue, all the way up. Dez, great control of the defense, trying to pick their poison, wait for the moment. 2Piece actually going for the in and out. Cara recognizing it and dropping it low to make sure that 2Piece can't get back in time. Monkey Man, if skill issue are going to win this game and win this series, this is how they're going to need to do it, with efficiency up on their offensive trips and making sure their defense stays stout enough, knowing that they're not going to fully shut out Rebellion, but they need to just kind of keep them out enough and to take advantage of their opportunities when they get it.
You were talking about this being a light boxing match, kind of going tit for tat, a little bit of extra counter punch necessary for skill issue to stay in this, and they've been doing nothing but catching up to the Rebellion, who found first goals. Now they're looking for their own lead. After obtaining that early on in game number 1, they've not been able to get beyond the Rebellion at this point. Less than 90 seconds, looking for another execute, and that goes from crossbar down and out. So will J-Cell, as they're able to find a clear, and that will send the Rebellion packing, but skill issues had to use so much boost just to keep the Rebellion out of their back half. They don't have enough for a counter.
Yeah, and the Rebellion are being so creative with their attacks, and exactly to your point, skill issue, they're burning everything in their tank to keep up with it. And Rebellion, they're looking like they're having a little bit of fun too, trying to get creative, trying to get fancy. You know, you said you may not be an artist, but these are very artistic interpretations of offense from time to time from the Rebellion, and their defense is shutting down as necessary when needed. The skill issue, again, they're starting to get stymied up on that offensive end. Might have an angle there, but Paarth safe. Cara trying to get the redirect back to themselves, but two-piece out to the side, approaching that final 30, are all tied.
Yeah, we're looking towards a possible overtime. Inevitability not quite there because Rebellion is kind of biding their time, and skill issue is burning through everything they have in their tanks. Because of that, the counterplay is very much alive for Shopify Rebellion. Memory can't adjust as they've gotten through the entirety of their reserves. Left for J-Cell to just pick up and run away with. Memory looking for that midfield boost. Two-piece looking for a clip as it goes to the ceiling. Maybe another one. Paarth looking for the placement shot. And with only seconds remaining, skill issue is under fire, under duress. They are stressing out. Cara wants to find a piece of this ball, but they'd rather let it fall, and we go to OT.
Survival mode does not even begin to describe the last defensive stance for skill issue, and the Rebellion are right back at it, looking to try to get a reset. No, a fake, a demo coming out. Memory trying to do it all and trying to get a read here. I believe that was Cara up on the offense. We'll see if the Rebellion can get something here, though. Up to the air. Memory's gonna get the bump, but what a save coming out does not matter as Paarth hammers it in. What an utter fantastic effort from 4 different players here at the end, but it ultimately rebounds into Paarth's path.
You know that the play is going to go the Rebellion's way when two-piece was already looking for the air dribble bump carry, and then they still have a teammate screaming across from a cherry-pick position to do the exact same thing, and then you have a third man still free. That was domination in a very short amount of time, but that doesn't mean that it was a breakaway performance by Shopify Rebellion. Skill issue kept it very close, and in fact, that's why I went to OT. 13 shots seems to be the consistent factor in form here for the Rebellion, but skill issue for all their wants and needs. Cara just wasn't able to kind of be all over the pitch. We saw them with 2 scores on 4 shots with 6 saves last time. This time, half that and less than so for the defense. So even with that, we saw Dez come alive, and I think that that's good to not have a one-dimensional kind of existence against the Shopify Rebellion squad. But now, if you don't want to drop into the lowers in this group, you have to be able to reverse sweep.
Yeah, and it all comes one game at a time, and they can't. Skill issue can't overlook it because they have these bright flashes. They've had that lead early in game number 1. They're really close to being able to pull away in game 2 because they're pretty solidly matched against, in game 2 at least, solidly matched against Shopify Rebellion. Game 1, obviously, blown open a little bit, but it's going to come back to that one game at a time and one challenge at a time as this comes through. They just got to stay cool, calm, and collected. And remember not to get buried under a war of attrition. That's how Rebellions are won, not by outright blowing things up, but by being ever present, a thorn in the side, and never giving up. And that's pretty much what Rebellion have been doing so far, at least in game 2. And they're finding wins with it. 1 win away from sweeping in the quarterfinals here of pool number 2, but skill issue are going to have a little bit to say about that here in game 3.
Well, skill issue, you got to listen to El General Alligator Source if you want to be able to win. Great tactician in his own right, but it's also about just having that will to fight. You know that you're facing off against a very stout opponent who's been doing very well in the pro scene, and you know that one everyone kind of just sees it. Well, you got to keep your head on a swivel, and you got to keep yourself level. And near triple commit into that save is also showing the stress that skill issue is under. The first 30 seconds and more, and the Shopify Rebellion continue to bear down.
Yeah, I mean, Monkey Man, it takes pressure to make diamonds, and usually you want a gemstone. Sometimes your rank drops. And the first 45 seconds, it's been a little rough here for skill issue. I mean, Memory is going to get a gold there. This did not look like it was initially. No, I think it was just a challenge coming onto Cara. And we did see a respawn from J-Cell coming in after getting demoed, but a very rough start from skill issue here in game 3. And if this is going to continue, I mean, Shopify Rebellion are going to run away with this.
I mean, you do have kind of those errant Rocket League moments where the physics and the math just kind of maths its way out. So Cara will look on back on that one and laugh, and then it's just going to be about how they find the consistency to actually connect with one another. We were talking about how the Rebellion were kind of playing with their food, maybe at least playing with each other and having a great time. Was because they're connecting the passes, but Paarth also knows just how to connect with himself. Look at this layback redirect. Woo, what a touch.
Okay, I almost wanted to say earlier on that the Rebellion were treating this as like a glorified warm-up session. How close it was in game 2, I was about to take it back, but the way that started, that's disgusting. If Paarth's feeling that good, that, to your point, just calmly, did not look like there was any overextension whatsoever to get that touch, just lining up perfectly. We might see something going here for skill issue, and there's still plenty of time in this game, but you almost have to think they need something soon just to try to slow down what Rebellion have been doing.
It's very tough. It's easier to say, tougher to do. That works in so many different faculties, but this one in particular, the third man has always been in fantastic position for the Rebellion, as you've seen Memory and then two-piece in successive shots from skill issue, picking it up like it's nothing. Memory trying for the extension here to the sidewall, and we're approaching the 3-minute remaining mark and nearly 3 down. Big save by Dez will keep the dream alive, but skill issue, well, they can't have any issues with offense, which is not the same with the Rebellion as they find a third with two-piece.
Cara just trying to get the clear out. Memory is already there because why not be up on the sidewall at that point? 2P has jumped from the last game to get up in front of it, and just the connections are forming. Shopify Rebellion, they're clicking, they're firing, and they're getting the exact touch that they're looking for. And that is, at this level of Rocket League, the slightest differences make the biggest results. And right now we're seeing the differences go Rebellion's way over and over, even when we see a simultaneous 200 IQ phase.
Oh my goodness. I love that both the third men went up into that moment. They're like, hey, head fake, and then just both kind of ran away. To the backboard, any continuation? No. J-Cell will be able to get one from the midfield, so Memory is left in an isolated position, but Paarth is just hanging out on the ceiling. He's just kind of waiting for it, and so J-Cell will take advantage. A nice flat angle from the sidewall, so they at least find one at the midway mark here of game 3.
Yeah, tick past halftime and a tick on the board for them. Well, they need to get that going, but it is good to see. Maybe catch Rebellion sleeping a little bit. That was a great camera shot of Paarth hanging out there, the classic I trust my team moment. Maybe a little bit further down the pitch and it would 100% match, but still, goal on for skill issue. 2.5 minutes to pick up another 2. The way the Rebellion have been playing, it'll be difficult, but they're getting up in offense a little bit more. And of course, Paarth is going to send it to 2-piece onto the back wall and immediately fling us into the orange zone.
You know, Paarth probably just recently saw the newest Spider-Verse movie. Just wanted to be like Miles Morales. See what he can do out there. You know, no spoilers in it one, by the way. Haven't seen it yet. Don't do it, please and thank you.
It's so good.
2 minutes. Look, I bet. I definitely want to see that soon. But less than 2 minutes to go, which isn't enough for you guys to ruin it for a sneak peek trailer otherwise. Skill issue is still looking for 2 goals to go. They have to at least score with 1 more in time remaining. Dez waiting from open distance, but look how much respect they have to give to the Rebellion. They even had just one-on-one, and they still had to surrender an entire half of the pitch because the other 2 players were ready in cherry-pick positions to be able to dagger through. Looking for a bump. If Cara can get around it, yes, they can. 130. I think that's just enough time.
Oh, absolutely. And they're starting to see life coming back into skill issue. I love that chase down coming in from Dez, even not making contact, but it just sets so much open room for Cara, and not even just keeping control of the ball, but being able to follow through and get that last corral at the end. So back within 90 seconds left. It's not over yet, with the Rebellion still having the lead and extending it back up to 2. And you know, Monkey Man, maybe they are playing with their food a little bit, baiting them into getting a little closer and saying, haha, no, this is still all us.
Yeah. When you bait the caster as well into saying it's not over yet, and then they punch it like that, so maybe they are, in fact, just kind of treating this as if, all right, what do we need to test ourselves with? We've seen these handoff carries. I'm not talking about just passes. I'm saying literally tip of the bumper. Let me bring it over to my teammate, and let's just pinch this through style passing plays right at the top of the box. And Rebellion, they're simply executing where they need to, and they're doing it very cleanly. Paarth from the ceiling, a shot on target, and the cannon shot rings loud as Paarth finds a 5th.
Paarth, full name Parthenax for a reason. The Dragon of the Skies, dropping it in, collecting just a beautiful pass from 2Piece, power behind the touch. There's 63 seconds left. Monkey, I'm infamous for not liking to call things early. I feel like we might be able to call game 3. Skill issue might be able to get a couple on here, but Rebellion, they're just taking off.
I mean, they definitely are, and this is a team that you expect to do it, but it was at least a testament to them going deep into these games. You had them go down by 2 in game number 1. A great bump! What a save by Paarth! There is no way! Get to the back end of that ball, they will deny skill issue further, and then they will be striking down in distance! Pinch plays from the middle of the pitch. They're just going crazy.
That's rude. That's just rude. So much chaos going through there and still being able to find these touches. But I have no words, which is a trouble as a caster, to have no words. But that for how many players, I mean, 99.9% of the players in this game, that would just be utter chaos and total reactions. The Rebellion read it the entire way down from the save to the goal. Just fantastic way to finish off this series.
Yeah, this is a showcase of skill, mechs, and pretty much anything else that is just a positive note for Shopify Rebellion. They've been able to keep skill issue pretty much under their wings and under wraps the whole time. Oppressive offensives. We've seen it before, but we've seen it again. 3-0 sweep on lock for the Rebellion as they'll be progressing through this group stage. They take their first series win, and they look good, darn good doing it.
Let's see what the final score ends up being. They keep it alive for a while then. I'm continually impressed by how well professional players can keep the ball up at 0 seconds. And like, I already wrote down the final score in my note sheet, and if they changed it, I would have to like erase things, and that's a hassle. So, but no, a very, very solid showing there for Shopify Rebellion. That 3-0. I mean, on aggregate, we're looking at 14 goals to 6. I mean, just came out swinging